It's Sci time for grade 10 and this is the last part of this continuity of life lesson. And let's see today's part. This is the part 5, the last one. Today's plan is this. Here are the subtopics that we have to discuss and already been discussed. First one, reproduction. We finished that one, and the reproduction of plants also completed under that vegetative reproduction, sexual reproduction of plants both we completed, and reproduction of man we completed, male reproductive system, that part also already completed, and remaining one is the female reproductive system and the sexually transmitted diseases, and we hope to cover up this part, the female reproductive system, today itself. And here's the basic plan of the female reproductive system. You can see a picture here, and this is very clear diagram. We can understand the parts. First of all, let's learn the parts belong to female reproductive system. I will start from this point here. This is the vagina. This is the opening of the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system situated in the lower abdominal area of a female, and the vagina is the opening. Its function is the receiving sperms. And vagina, at the top of the vagina there is a gate like part. This is called the cervix, and it blocks the germs or any other things that enter, but it permits the sperms to enter in. And the urinary bladder and the urethra finally connect to this place, the vaginal opening. There is no connection of the link with the urinary system with these upper parts, and these upper parts are definitely adapted for the reproductive function. And this is called the uterus, also called womb, and it's the place, or this the space provided for a new baby to grow, the uterus. And then let's move to the next parts belong to it, the uterine wall. You can see the uterus and uterine wall. Now let's go to this side, the fallopian tube. There are two fallopian tubes connecting to each ovary, and this is a really small tube, and as we saw here, it looks like a big one, but it's kind of capillary, or it's a micro size small tube. And the fimbria is a funnel type one at the end of fallopian tube. Its function is to drag or the suck in the ovaries release, the ova released by the ovaries. When ova is released by the ovary, that ova can be sucked in to the fallopian tube by this fimbria part. And the ova, there are immature ova as well, the maturing ones. Finally, the ova will be released once the sexual maturation take place. Then ova will enter to the fimbria, and it will travel to the fallopian tube. And this unit is called the ovary. And those are the parts of female reproductive system. Now I will move on to the next slide to discuss about the functions, or the basic or the main functions of the main parts of female reproductive system. First one, ovary, the site of ovulation. This is the ovary, and there are a number of immature ova found, around 20,000 to 40,000 immature ova found in this ovary, around 20,000 to 40,000 ova, around that number exists here. And right, once this ova is released by the ovary, that ova can be sucked into the fallopian tube. This fimbria part takes it. I will show you an animation also hereafter. Now let's see the process. The ovary releases ova, that is the ovulation. Female gonad, or the one of the pair of the reproductive glands in woman. There are pairs, then you can see only one side here, that is the left side, and there are two ovaries connecting to this. And the ovaries are located in the pelvis or one of each side of the uterus. Here the sides we can see this. Each ovary is about size and shape of an almond. You can understand that these ones, though they look bigger here in the diagrams, actually they are very small. An almond is a small seed. The ovaries produce egg or ova and the female hormones. And here let's see this process, the ovulation. See this releasing ova is the process of ovulation. Okay, let's move on to the next slide, that is the fallopian tube, the site of fertilization. Fallopian tube is a narrow tube, very small tube. Once the ova comes, the fertilization should be taken place within this place. That means the sperms must reach and stay here. And when the sperms stay here, once the ova comes, these two meet, and that meeting is called the fertilization. So that is the site where the fertilization takes place, the fallopian tube. Fallopian tube is a pair of long narrow ducts located in the human female abdominal cavity that transport male female cells to the egg and provide suitable environment for the fertilization. And finally thereafter the transport egg from ovary to uterus. Thereafter this egg will travel to the uterus here. So this is the animation of it. See the fertilization, of sperms come and meeting the ova. Sperms meeting ova is called the fertilization. Right. Uterus, the site of implantation. Here's the uterus. Once the sperms are fertilized, the sperms and the ova then fertilize, then they come and implant here in this wall. That is the implantation. Uterus is the site where the implantation takes place. Uterus, inverted pear-shaped muscular organ and in the female reproductive system, located between the bladder and the rectum part. And the function is the nourishing and providing house or the providing a space for the fertilized egg until it grows as the fetus or offspring. Offspring is the young one or a baby. And till that the baby is keep in here in human reproductive system around 9 months. The baby stay in the uterus and finally be delivered. And here's the implantation process. Watch this animation. Wait a bit. This one. Implantation means this, when the egg comes and implant in the wall. Now let's watch the animation, the one that we saw just before. Menstrual cycle. With this animation we can clearly understand how does it take place. The hormonal actions I will discuss further hereafter. First of all, watch this attentively and listen to the explanation here. This is the menstrual cycle. Okay, then here you can see the developed uterine wall collapsing here. This collapsing is called the menstruation, and each phase, new phase is starting from this menstruation. The very first menstruation of a girl is considered as the attaining age, and that is the attainment of the puberty, and very first menstruation. Thereafter the cycle continue, that each cycle start from this menstrual phase. It will last around 3-4 days. And now we must discuss the hormonal influence. And through this video you watched, there are four basic hormones secreted. The final ones displayed here, estrogen and progesterone. And from the pituitary gland, two hormones come. Those hormones are called the FSH and LH. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. LH, luteinizing hormone. And let's move on to the next slide to explain that. Ovarian cycle. LH hormone, luteinizing hormone. FSH, follicle stimulating hormone. And here let's see how the hormonal flow increases through these days. 0 to 3, 7, likewise the days are running here. Look at the first thing, 0 to 3. Then we will learn gonadotrophic hormone levels in this column or this row here, and the ovarian cycle in the next row. First, the hormone levels increasing. You can see the FSH hormone level increasing gradually. That means the immature ova now getting mature, and still the luteinizing hormone is in the same level. Now as a result of this, then as a result of increasing this hormone level, these ova start maturation. Now you can see gradually LH hormone also gradually increasing here, but in the next phase you can see both the decreasing, the FSH level decreasing, LH level gradually increasing with a small rate. And now this follicle has stimulated to grow, the ova now getting mature. Then next phase is very important. Suddenly there is a peak, luteinizing hormone increasing to the very high extent, and follicle stimulating hormone also increasing little bit. During this phase, this is the 14th day, and the ova release at this day. From one ovary the ova releases. After that something remains. This is called the Graafian follicle, and that is remaining here. And again the hormone levels drop down, and 17th day the Graafian follicle still remaining, this one. And this follicle, Graafian follicle, it will start to secrete another hormone, that is the progesterone hormone. And about progesterone hormone levels we can discuss in the next slide. And finally the hormone levels dropping down. These hormones look like LH hormone and FSH hormone dropping down, and here you can see there's small peak again increasing. That means it is getting ready for the next cycle. If fertilization does not take place, there should be another cycle should be started from here. And there are phases in this. Let's identify the phases. First phase is follicular phase. The follicle growing phase is the follicular phase. Next one is the luteal phase. This phase after 14 days or 14 to 28 days. And this phase can be called pre-ovulatory phase, before ovulation. This part is the ovulation. Around 14th day it occurs. Last one is called the post-ovulatory phase. These are the phases in this ovarian cycle. Now let's move on to the next cycle, that is the uterine cycle. And here there are two hormones we will highlight, estrogen in green color and the progesterone in orange color. Ovarian hormone levels and the uterine cycle will be discussed. Ovarian hormone levels first. Let's see how estrogen and progesterone develop. Estrogen level increasing, progesterone level calm and quite at the same level. This phase is called this menstrual phase. Look at this. the wall collapsing here, wall breaking down further. These hormones stay here and the wall will be collapsed further. And the menstrual phase, at the end of the menstrual phase, new wall will develop in the ovary. New wall will develop in the uterus. Right? Uterine wall will be improved, develop. And now you can see estrogen level increasing here. Still we are between 7 to 10 days. And now new wall is growing further, new ovarian wall growing. And 10 to 14, now both hormones starting to increase. Estrogen level has goes to its maximum strength and further wall will develop. 14th day special, we know that ovulation takes place at this pace. Thereafter what happens, you can see the estrogen level drops down but progesterone level increase. This happens because that Graafian follicle, in the previous slide I highlighted that Graafian follicle started to secrete progesterone. Therefore the progesterone level goes up. This progesterone level, function of the progesterone is keeping this wall healthy and keeping it in growth mode here. Progesterone level further rising up. And that means the wall develop further. This wall, it contains new tissues, new blood vessels, and likewise this is a newly growing wall and it is expecting a new the fertilized cell to implant on it. But if the fertilization does not take place, the progesterone level drops down and estrogen level drops down. It causes to collapse this wall again. It's dropping down and coming here. Therefore finally this wall will collapse like in this one. As the progesterone level dropping down, this will happen, and this level is the beginning of that. Again new cycle will start after the 28th day. And this uterine cycle also we identify phases. What are the phases here? Phases of uterine cycle. First phase, this is the menstrual phase. It lasts about 4-5 days. And proliferative phase, it is the growth phase of the uterine wall. Finally the secretory phase, we call it secretory phase because the hormones secrete at this level. Hormones levels are very high in this level, this stage. And those are the phases of the uterine cycle. There is a summary here. Look at this. This is the cartoon like one, very nice summary. And the function of the FSH coming from the pituitary gland, it stimulates the young or very small ova to develop as to grow as a new one. There is the effect of estrogen. Now it is full of estrogen secretion here. LH is the hormone which smack to release this ovum out, and the ovulation take place with that. Look at the hormone, LH hormone. Thereafter this Graafian follicle of the corpus luteum and the corpus albicanus means that the corpus luteum secreted the progesterone here, corpus luteum, and finally if fertilization does not take place, it becomes the corpus albicans and menstruation take place hereafter. You get the fact corpus luteum releases the progesterone hormone which maintain this wall growth. And proliferative phase is here, the growth phase, and the secretory phase here, secreting hormones. Finally collapsing here, menstrual phase. Menstrual cycle, ovarian cycle, and the uterine cycle is nicely highlighted in this one. This is the summary of the hormonal actions. Now we can move on to this one, fertilization and implantation process. Watch this video. I will explain what happens here in that one while watching it. First, it starts from the releasing of sperms to the female reproductive system, and through vagina it runs up to the uterine or the uterus. You can see how those sperms swimming in it, and they are mobile. Finally once they are received to the uterus, millions of sperms fighting to reach an ova here. This is very important thing to find the most strong sperm. This adaptation is here to find the most strong one. Now you can see there are two openings here. That these black spots are the two openings. These are the openings of the fallopian tubes. But the sperms will run only to the fallopian tube where the ova exists. This is chemotrophic movement. If ova exists in this side, then all the sperms will travel into that one. And now you can see they are swimming on the walls. Millions of sperms, and this is just like a superstar competition. Number of competitors to select the best sperm. This competition is holding to select the best one. Some fails and collapse, but a strong one still fighting and traveling up. Now they have entered to the fallopian tube, traveling through the fallopian tube now. And finally they will meet the ova. Until they meet ova, they will travel. Look at the nature of fallopian tube. Its wall is the ciliated or hair-like structures there. Through that hair-like structures or the cilia, the sperm swimming up. Right. Then you can see the ova. It is the ovum. This is the ovum. It's really big one. When compared to the size of the sperm, ovum is really big one. This is the egg. Now it meets the egg. Now sperms fighting to enter into that. It has to break few walls. First of all, the outermost wall. Through this wall they will enter to the endometrium wall. So sperms now in the second level, and the sperm cell has kind of special enzyme secreting cell. It secretes enzyme and make a hole here. Once one sperm enters, suddenly the wall just changing. Look at this. This wall changes and nobody can enter here after. This is a chemical process. So only one sperm is permitted to enter. Other ones are the failures. Now the best one was selected. Most strong one, most active sperm was selected. And once the sperm enter here, first task is it shed its tail and enter through the next entrance, shedding the tail out, and finally releasing what he brought. This is the haploid cell with the 23 chromosomes. Now meeting with the other half, which is inside the ovum. Now male and female chromosomes are fusing, and this is called the fusion process. Thereafter the division process comes. One cell becomes two, two becomes four. Likewise division takes place. While it's dividing, now the ovum the rolling over this fallopian tube and smoothly rolling downwards. Now it is getting ready for the implantation, and number of cells 4 to 8, 8 to 16 increasing. Once it becomes 16 cells, we call it as morula. Now it is just like a seed which is planting on the soil and releasing the morula, and then gradually it's implant here. Look at this, in the wall of that one uterus it's implanting here. After the implantation, then what happens? Now the zygote start to grow here. The morula, yes, it's coming here, just like the blastula, it's growing. And see this process. And this process actually hereafter we can see all the evolutional processes, that means the evolutional stages that we spend in our past life. And we started as single or unicellular cell, and we stayed as the worm-like forms, around million billion years ago. And now you can see the worm-like structure here, and development of the notochord, the backbone and such things. And heartbeat starts. Here you can see that now the organism takes a kind of animal shape here. Look at this. There is a tube here. This tube connecting this fetus with the mother, and the materials exchanged through that one. This is called the umbilical cord. Materials are exchanging through this, and it's gradually taking kind of animal form. Now there is a tail stub also, you can see still tail stay, and several development stages take place and tissues get activated here, start functioning. Also the development of brain nervous system take place after this, and you can clearly see the umbilical cord now, and the heart beats. And then what happens? Let's move further. Here you can see the development of the sensory organs as the next stage. Development of sensory organs, also development of limbs like this, growth of limbs, and then it takes kind of baby shape with the limbs. Likewise, growth of them, and the detailing of face. Still it seems like an alien face. Gradually takes the proper place here. Look at this. As I said, the sensory organs develop just like ears, nose, eyes. They are developing here. And further it's shaping up into nice baby shape. Still that alien shape is visible, but shaping up nicely. And the brain growth starts during this phase mainly. Look at this. Now it has taken kind of baby shape. Also it starts some motor movement here, physical movements. Look at this, the limbs or the arms, they are moving now. Brain development here, the brain cells, new brain cells developing. That brain cells means the nerve cells developing in that nervous system getting advanced. Right. Now these are the final touches. Finally it takes night baby shape and making movements, moving up, right, down, and grasping skills, also sucking the fingers. And now nails also grow during this period. Hair, nail, and those things are growing at this pace. Finally it's moving up, right, down. Heartbeat is at normally it says that heartbeat is around twice faster than the mother's heartbeat at this age, and the materials exchanging through this umbilical cord, and the blood of mother and baby never be exchanged here. Only the materials and the needed things such as the oxygen is taken to the baby through the tube, and the carbon dioxide sent in through this tube or the umbilical cord. Now the baby has taken the nice human shape here. Remember that fact, only the materials exchange through that, and the blood never be mixed up. So these are the processes after the fertilization and the implantation. After that we can see such processes. Now move on to the development stages of a fetus from conception to birth with the ages or the months. From oocyte we started, and sperms come and meet the oocyte or the ovum. After that, egg segments and the fertilization take place. First division take place within 24 hours. Then final division goes on and divides every 12 to 15 hours. It's divide further. Now the early embryo looks like that. Then 25 days, heart chambers developing. Now it's around 1 month or 1.5 month or 32 days. Arms, hands are developing during that period. Then 36 days, beginning of the primitive vertebrae or the notochord and the vertebral column growing here. And actually this is the rapid period or the rapid growth period. This is an important fact. If fetus continues to grow at this speed for entire 9 months, it says that at the birth the fetus or the baby would be 1.5 tons. From this one you can understand how fast the baby grow within first 3 months. That means the first 3 phase is the growth period. The next 6 months is the detailing period or the advancing period, and that is a very good fact. Now it's 45 days, 1.5 months. Embryo's heart is beating twice faster than mother's. I said that in the previous occasion also. Now it's 51 days, developing the retina and nose and the fingers and detailing this. 52 days, around 2 months old now. And brain development we can see here. Muscular and skeletal growth is the next expecting level stage. Here at this moment, now it is more older, 12 weeks, 3 months, right? Baby shows some movements. Now it is 8 months, grown well and showing movements. And finally, before birth, the baby would look like this. This is the fetus just before the birth. Those are the development stages of a fetus, and changes take place while it stays in the mother's womb or the uterus. And the most vital facts about the female reproductive system we discussed today. And this is the end of this. Now you can find the note from as the image form here from www.itsciTime.blogspot.com blog site. Search that one and copy down the note and expect the next lesson. It is unit number 15, hydrostatic pressure. If you watch this fully, just press this like button and also keep subscribe the lesson. Subscribe the YouTube channel, and also to get notification press the bell icon. That's up to today, and we learned a long lesson today, so let's meet from the next lesson. Goodbye.